Hi folks, welcome back to the Model 3 Man channel, and I have an interesting episode for you today. Short, but interesting, and it's a take that you've never heard before. I'm pretty sure. What? My mustache looks uneven? Well, that happened a week ago. This little thing here went crazy, so I had to chop it a little bit to try and get it even, and I'm sure guys out there who have a mustache know exactly what I'm talking about. Stay away from these crazy things unless you've got the right fitting on the end. Anyway, here's a take on Tesla, Twitter, Elon that I don't think you've heard before, and I think you're going to find it very, very interesting. Now, obviously, the news all of last week has been Elon's purchase of Twitter. On the one side, people saying that this will be the death of Tesla because all of a sudden now he's going to be having to sell them to pay for Twitter. People are going to dump Tesla shares. Everything's going to collapse. And for a very interesting take on that one, I'll put a link down here to Solving the Money Problem. Fellow from Australia with some salty language, but really interesting takes on the ups and downs of Tesla shares and when to purchase, when not to, and I think you'll find what he has to say pretty interesting. Of course, speculation is rife. On the one side, you've got people saying Elon is a hero, a Superman of sorts, riding in to save free speech. On the other side of the spectrum, you've got people saying that this is the death of democracy. You open up the Twitter platform to everyone and democracy will die. So obviously, I'm not going to talk about that. That's purely a political response to an interesting purchase. I've got some personal friends who are absolutely convinced he's only doing it as an investment.
This is not a way to sort of make money. My strong intuitive sense is that having a public platform that is maximally trusted and broadly inclusive is extremely important to the future of civilization.
But you've described yourself.
I don't care about the economics at all.
Okay, that's cool to hear.
So here's my unique and different take. Elon does not advertise Tesla in any formal channel. Elon relies upon word of mouth, quality of product, person-to-person interactions and relationships for the word about Tesla to spread. But if we look at the state of the American, I just bumped the camera, sorry about that. If we look at the state of the American political scene, it's pretty much split down the middle, pretty binary. The two never meet, there's no getting together between them. And if we answer the question of who is buying Tesla at the moment in the USA, I think it's pretty obvious that it's the West and the East Coast, down in California, up into Oregon, up into Washington State. On the other side, you've got New York and Baltimore and Maryland and New Jersey, and you've got the East Coast. Most of Tesla purchases are concentrated in those areas, and not entirely coincidentally, most of those areas are dominated by or governed by Democrat administrations. Now, in this video, I'm not speaking against or for any parties. I live in Canada. I have the freedom to look and observe and not be tied down with the fighting and the bickering that goes on down south. But most Tesla sales tend to congregate in the Democratic-oriented areas along the coastlines. What about the American heartland? What about the so-called flyover states that you have to fly over to get from one side to the other? Have they taken to Tesla? Well, it's become very political. Knowing that Joe Biden's administration is pushing electric vehicles, although they singularly ignore Tesla and talk about GM and Mary Barra as being leaders and innovators, we know that's not true. But in general, the heartland and the South American states have not taken kindly to this pressure to move to electric vehicles, and their sales per capita, per person in each of those states, tend to be lower than those on the coast. Now, enter Elon and the purchase of Twitter. And Elon's clearly stated reason, many, many, many times in many tweets, Elon has stated, it's not a financial investment. I don't care about the money. If it breaks even, it breaks even. But I'm buying it because I believe that a thriving, healthy democracy requires that there be a town square where people can largely and generally trust the medium, trust the space, trust the platform. And Elon says, I want to come in and I want to make sure that the algorithms that govern what kind of things are blocked on Twitter are entirely open and transparent. And you know what? I believe him. But here's the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The benefit, the final objective, the outcome of Twitter falling into Elon's hands and it becoming open and more accessible to people of all political shades is the following. If you're a conservative, now check me on this one. If you're a conservative or you're a conservative news channel, and you can take Fox, you can take Newsmax, you can take Headline News, there's many others. In the past, you tended to be antagonistic toward Elon. You tended to be a little bit hostile to the whole concept of electric cars, and you were fairly scornful and scathing because you knew that this was something the Democrats espouse. And that's the way politics works at the moment in the States. But when Elon comes in and appears to help your side, your conservative-minded approach, Elon begins to be regarded as a hero, begins to be regarded as the savior for free speech and freedom of expression in America. And all of a sudden, those heartland states and the southern states and everywhere that is more conservative in its leaning suddenly sees Elon as a good guy. Now look, it cost him $43 billion, $44 billion to get the Twitter platform. But I'm going to suggest to you that while this is not his spoken, stated reason for taking over Twitter, that a benefit that he fully understands and he knows very well is that he's bringing the 50% of Americans who were not on side with Tesla and electric vehicles, he's bringing them into a position to regard him favorably and therefore the things he makes favorably. You see, everyone has been impressed with SpaceX, and whether you're a left or right, it didn't matter. You were pretty impressed that Elon could land rockets after they'd been used time after time after time. It was a pretty impressive feat. And of course, that was not very political, but buying electric cars was made political. And now Elon looks like a hero. So the 50% of America that never really got on board with electric cars, electric vehicles being pushed toward it, is now looking and saying, well, Elon's a good guy. He's obviously in favor of freedom of expression. He's on our side in the sense that he's giving us the ability once again to be heard. What could be so bad about Elon's cars? Maybe we should take a second look at them. Yeah, they're still expensive, but trust me, there are many people living in the American heartland who have plenty of money to spend. And so what Elon is doing here is bringing the 50% of the country who did oppose the electrification of vehicles and the making of EVs and having to buy them, and he's bringing them into his space. And they're regarding him with a sympathetic and approving perspective, and that is going to have a spin-off on the sales of Tesla vehicles. Mark my words. If you've got the liberals and the Democrats already buying Teslas, interesting, AOC has a Tesla. And I love Elon's tweets. You know, sometimes he can be crazy, sometimes he can say dumb things, but AOC was criticizing him no end about these billionaires who come in and control a platform, and was indirectly criticizing him. And in the past, when Republicans had criticized her tweets, she says, listen, you're just doing it because you would secretly like to hit on me. So Elon tweeted back to AOC as she tweeted her disapproval of him taking Twitter. Oh, AOC, stop hitting on me. I'm a shy guy. So always good for a laugh. I hope that this perspective interests you and perhaps sheds a different light on the acquisition of the Twitter platform. And I really do think that Elon is becoming to be seen as a central, libertarian, if you wish, figure who the left can put up with because he's making electric cars and renewable energy and things like that. But the right come now to regard him as kind of a hero, kind of a savior, and they will look more favorably on the things that are associated with him and the products that he makes. So I say, go Elon, go Tesla, go Twitter, and let's hope that the whole country can unite finally behind what Elon is doing to save the planet and what he's doing to bring renewable energy to the forefront without forcing it down people's throats. I hope that you found this perspective interesting. If you differ, disagree, or agree, go down in the comments below, put a comment there, tell me what you think. I always read through. In the first week, I read every comment. After that, I might miss them. So thanks once again for supporting the Model 3 Man channel. Love to have you, love to have your comments. By the way, still in that queue, waiting to join the full self-driving beta program. I'm on 98%. I've been stuck there for 2 weeks. I drive 100 kilometers with no strikes. I'm still on 98%. And my next episode is going to be one you will find very interesting. 5 tremendously dangerous pitfalls that lie ahead for Tesla at what appears to be the height of their success. Their growth, their profitability, everything is fantastic, but there are 5 hidden dangers that lie ahead. I'll share those with you in the next episode. Thanks for listening. See you again soon, and cheers for now.